it's Miss Kate. I am going to show you how to do the stained glass jars today. The first step you need to do is lay some paper towels down or newspaper just to cover your workspace just in case. It can get messy, but we're gonna stay as neat as we can. The next thing is make sure you have dry hands because we're gonna be working with tissue paper. So tissue paper can tear really easy if it gets too wet. My advice is to lay some of the tissue paper squares out by themselves. Okay, and then we can begin. You have a little bit of glue with you and a foam brush. You're just gonna dip a little bit, not a lot, into the jar. You just want a little bit of glue on there, and you're gonna start at the top of your thing, not where the lines are, at the top of the jar, but not on the lines. And spread out some glue right there. I'm not covering the whole jar, just a little bit. It's easier, this activity is easier done in smaller sections. So there's a little bit of glue. I don't know if you could see the shine on it. And then take a piece of paper and you're gonna just lay it flat on it. Smooth it out a little bit. Try not to touch the other glue because then your fingers are gonna get sticky. So I laid down a couple pieces. They can overlap a little bit. Like this darker blue is a little bit on top of this lighter blue. I still have some more glue left open, so I'm going to put some more pieces on before adding more glue. You could use whatever colors you have in front of you. Just be careful not to get glue on your fingers, okay? This last one I just put on didn't have enough glue on the bottom. That's okay because we're gonna dip our foam brush into the glue a little bit again, and we can spread it out again. Just be careful to not get glue on your fingers and not to get the jar too wet. You can then go over the part that didn't have enough glue on it and lay it down. But I'm not pressing hard because I don't want my tissue paper to rip. I'm not using a lot of glue because I don't want my tissue paper to rip. So just go slow and steady for this craft. And a little bit of glue at a time. Lay that down. I'm gonna get a couple more dark blues out. The tissue papers are all different sizes and it's okay. Just go nice and slow. I like having mine overlap a little bit, and they don't have to lay flat perfectly, but I like the overlap a little bit because it looks nice when there's the candle inside at the end. If your paper wrinkles a little bit, that's okay too, because that gives it a little more design or texture to your jar. And when you get to the bottom, you're going to go right to the edge. And again, when you just have a little bit of glue on your paintbrush, just glue it down. You see how it doesn't lift up anymore? The top corner is lifted a little bit. So again, I'm just gonna use a little bit of my foam brush. I didn't add more glue to it yet. I'm just going nice and slow to make sure the edges are down. So you're gonna continue that pattern. A little bit of glue, spread out a little bit, a couple new sheets onto it, until you're covered the whole entire jar. Just remember, try not to get your fingers sticky. It's really tricky when you're working with glue and those little pieces. But I think you guys can do it. You're smart kids. I lay it down lightly on the glue and then tap it down. There's a bunch of different winter colors here too, so feel free to mix it up. Okay, I'm up to the point that I need a little bit of glue. Spread it out on the jar. Go over any edges that were not properly glued down that last round. Again, the edge is up a little bit. That edge is up a little bit, so I'm going to use my paintbrush and just paint it down. See? Nice and slow. If your hands get too sticky during this, feel free to go wash them in the sink, but make sure they're completely dry before you start touching the tissue paper again. Okay, that was kind of a big overlap, this last piece. It goes over the blue, so it's not quite sticking. Just use your brush, don't add extra glue, and go nice and soft and slow. You don't want to tear the tissue paper. When this is all covered, you're going to do a nice thin coat of glue anyways on it, so it's okay to kind of do it as you are putting the tissue paper down. Spread out a little bit of glue. Do you see how I'm only doing like 3 or 4 pieces at a time? That helps make sure I'm not getting everything sticky in my workspace. Just tap it down nice and light. Tap, tap, tap. This is why it's handy to have some of them laid out by themselves at first, because then when your fingers do get a little sticky, it's hard to pick up one piece at a time. Okay, I got my paintbrush out, getting any edges that didn't quite stick as well as you wanted them to. Nice and lightly tapping them down with the glue brush. And look at that, I'm already halfway done. Get a little bit of glue, spread it out. And put the next couple pieces down. It's okay to go nice and slow on this project because you tap, tap, tap. Okay, again, any corners that were not laid down nicely with the glue that you already had on there, just lightly go over. If you press too hard, you're gonna rip the tissue paper, so just take your time, go nice and lightly. Don't press it really hard, just light taps. It's kind of hard for me to do it closer to the camera for you guys and still see what I'm doing, but I think it's coming out pretty good so far. Okay, I'm gonna just take out some more tissue papers and lay them out nice one by one so I can grab them a little easier. closing in on my colors here. Okay. Sometimes it's hard to pick which one to use because I love the blue colors that we're using for this project. So I have a hard time deciding which one should go next to the other blues. Getting there, I'm getting closer and closer to being done, but I'm not rushing still. Just taking my time, laying them nice and flat, making sure I don't get sticky fingers everywhere. Tap, tap, tap. If your paper is folded, that's okay too. Lay them in any direction that you want to. This is your project. I just have I get a little crazy sometimes with making sure that mine are even, but you can lay them all different directions. Okay, some of them are not laying flat. I'm gonna take the paintbrush and go nice and slow. Okay. Purple is my favorite color, but I just used purple there, so I think I'm gonna use a teal color to finish this one off. It's a little bigger than I expected. Hold on. There we go. I have actually one more little spot that I can cover up. I just have one little spot left. Okay, so, oh. It looks like I got a little hole when I leaned my jar on to do the other side. So just be careful of doing that. You could just add a little bit of glue there and put a new piece on. It's a simple fix. Don't panic. See? Okay. The next job is a little tricky because you're gonna have to let your project dry. Quickly check and make sure all the edges are down. You could go over the whole jar in a nice light coat of the glue and let it dry. I'm not pulling hard because I don't want to rip any more tissue paper. So just go nice and slow, cover the whole jar with the glue. You might want to ask mom or dad for some help here if you don't feel comfortable doing it or you accidentally keep ripping it. Check the edges and the bottoms and the tops to make sure all the edges are going down. Okay, I'm almost done doing my glue coat. Okay, I think I got everything. Oh, I love all the colors on it. I'm sure yours are coming out just as great. I've even included some little snowflakes. So if you want to, you could add some snowflakes on top of your jar. But be careful because those are also tissue paper. So you can lay them down and then just tap them on. But I would wait for the very end to add the snowflakes. Tap, tap, tap. nice and slowly. Oh, I just broke it, but I accidentally broke my snowflake. Do you see how the bottom is missing and I have it right here? Because it's got glue on it, I can just lightly attach it. And it's like it never even happened. See? Just gonna add one more snowflake. Feel free to add them wherever you want. If you want, you could take construction paper and even make some other designs or shapes that you'd like and add it to the end. Okay, like I said, this is gonna be the hardest part. It's just letting it dry. Just sit it there, let it dry. When it's done drying, there's a tea light in your bag. You're gonna light the tea light. I forgot to bring one down, but you can light the tea light and put it right inside, and it looks really, really cool when you have it in a dark room. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy.